Hey guys, so after my time in Normandy, I went to Scotland. On my way to Glasgow, I showed my ticket to this guy who was like checking the airplane tickets, and he was a Scotsman. He asked me for my ticket, and I was like, what? I couldn't understand him, and he was like, good luck. First night in Glasgow was actually the night that the Macintosh building for the Glasgow School of Arts burnt down. It was a big fire. It was really interesting to see.
So that's a thing.
I only spent a few days at Glasgow, because afterwards I went to the Isle of Skye. The Isle of Skye is known for these things called fairy pools. They're very beautiful. The Isle of Skye is amazing. It's so beautiful that I felt like I was in Skyrim or The Lord of the Rings. The one annoying thing about the Highlands are these things called midgies, which are like little mosquitoes, and they swarm you, and they're terrible.
Alright, so I totally fucked up. With this, my hostel is actually like 8 miles away from the closest bus stop. So, gonna have a fun hike.
Okay, so I lied. So the first time I actually walked towards the hostel, I was actually picked up by these two very nice Dutchmen. And the funny thing is that when they picked me up, they asked me where I was from. And I said, San Francisco Bay Area. And they're like, really? You don't sound American. I thought you were from around here. And I was really confused because I still had, my accent. But it was interesting nonetheless. The next day, I woke up at 5 a.m. so I can walk all the way to Carbos, which is the home of the Talisker distillery. Talisker is a Scotch brand. It was really cool to see the process of how they made Scotch, but unfortunately I wasn't able to take photos because they didn't want any electronics. At the end of the distillery tour, we had a whiskey tasting, and it was quite fun.
Hey guys, at a ferry pool right now. I'm locked outside my hostel because the reception's closed till 5. So I'm about to swim. Au natural.
Okay, because the water was cold and I didn't want to spend the rest of my time in that water, I decided to go for a walk because I had a lot of time to kill before 5.
Yeah, so all along the Isle, you can find wool from sheep. Wow. I thought this was some moss growing on a rock, but it's pretty squishy deep in. I think I found a foundation for an old house. Or something. Not too sure nature stacks rocks like that. Oh, this cute little kid hurt his leg. Can't walk, it's on threes.
So the next day I woke up around 5 o'clock again to visit Glenbrittle. The reason why I went so early is because it's such a famous place because there's just a long series of ferry pools that it gets really crowded during the day. I just wanted to be able to take photos and play around alone and quiet. Part of the charm of ferry pools is their seclusion and being able to be one with nature.
Starting point about there. So as I'm hiking in this off trail area where only people who are skilled in hiking and stuff should really go, had to jump the river, I find 2 plastic bottles empty. This is why we can't have nice things, guys. Take care of our earth.
Because I had a lot of time, I decided to walk to this mountain. I have no idea what it's called. On the way back towards the main road, I met some other Americans, and they had a car, and they decided to give me a ride to Carbos because it was on their way back. and I wanted to go there because I needed internet so I can tell my mom that I'm still alive, and I needed food because I didn't plan well and I had no food. So I went to the same restaurant as I did the day before. On the way back from Carbos, I hitchhiked again, and I got picked up by these two lovely people. Shout out to Linda and Dan. Who were actually going to go see a waterfall. The same waterfall I saw the day before. So we decided to go on an adventure together and find it. After the Isle of Skye, I went to Edinburgh to meet up with a Scotsman I met in Iceland. It was very fun hanging out with him for a few days, and if you're watching this, Adam, shout out to you.
Come on, it's a beautiful day in the capital. Do better than that. Good afternoon!
Good afternoon!
Excellent. My name is Sergeant Scott Mitchell. I'm a regular servant, Sergeant 105 Regiment Royal Artillery. Today, it's my pleasure for you to fire the 1 o'clock time gun you see just behind us. Afterwards, if anyone would like any pictures, I'll give you a few minutes of my time. Okay, the gun itself is still in service today. It's 105mm and it can fire up to 17.5 kilometres. Is everyone happy?
Yes!
Excellent.
Hey, Yatsu!
아, 그게 포야. 되게 차고당이야. 딱 정확한 시간에.
Yeah, you don't have business. You told me to take me down.
Alright, so that's it for Scotland. By far, one of my favorite countries I visited, especially the Isle of Skye. That area was so beautiful, it left a genuine impression on me. Coming up next, we got Amsterdam, Brussels, and if we got time for it, Paris.